They say a box without a label is a lost parcel. Not for me. There are hard hitters and drillers who can pinpoint one true thing in their lives. But this one is for people who are passionate about many things. Those who love learning and living life. Yes, and follow your curiosity. Let's talk about entrepreneurship, travel, life adventures, challenges, successes, and experiences. I would always hear people describe the plethora of things that I do with "that's SoChal." No adjectives, just that. So I'm ready to play with that. I'm a middle child, so let's move out of the binary and explore the in-betweens. I call this essential real talk and stories. Life is a buffet spread. Feel free to experience as much as you can, one bite at a time. Welcome aboard as we take off for some social conversations. Taking flight with me today is the Millennial CEO, no other than Mica Tan, for some social conversations. And we are airborne. Thank you so much for flying with us. Don't you miss that if you haven't flown yet or traveled. This is Chalon Talk, and I'm very excited to have this conversation with a very special someone. I do have a list of things and all the recognition she has and all her accomplishments, but I'll spare that for you guys to Google simply because there's just too many to mention. But I do have a story to share. Earlier on, she's actually also our client in Drone Travel, but more than that, I came across her name because a couple of friends were talking with me over dinner. You know, there's this girl, and they said girl, not woman, pertaining that she was young and she's really amazing and she's done these things. And I wasn't able to put two and two together until later on, which was during an awarding for Go Negosyo, and she was one of those awardee as a woman entrepreneur. So I'm very, very appreciative that she's making time and saying yes to join us for social conversations. Yes, it's about millennial CEOs, but definitely more than that. We have with us today Mica Tan from the MFT Group of Companies. Hi, Mica.
Hi, Chal. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Just an easy social conversation with you. But of course, I'm very excited because a lot of people will be learning as well, especially women feeling empowered to know your story. Did you hear my story earlier on when I started? That I came across your name from
Yes,
friends
yes.
who were talking to you. Laman ka ng usapan over dinner talks. And these are business people. How does that make you feel? Hindi pa kita kilala nun, ha?
I'm humbled, but I hope only good things, Chal.
Oh, good
Sana good
things. Good
things
things.
lang.
Good things. Actually, okay, just for the sake of transparency, ako yata ang may hindi good things because when I came across Mica next, we did have some problems and it was our fault, with certain travel stuff. And thank you so much for the understanding. And I have to really also bring it up and say na, grabe how she dealt with it na talagang, with all seriousness, sternness, yet very straight to the point. And so I must say, all good things. Ako yata yung may bad things sa'yo. Okay. Let's get that out of the way now because you have a lot to share. Let's start off with this word that I place sa title, Millennial CEO. And that's something I did not coin. As a matter of fact, media, people who have written about you, yan yung nakalagay doon. Always the wonder CEO, the Millennial CEO, the youngest, one of the youngest. So that word young and millennial is always attached to your name. So I'm going to start the story with that. Something happened. 13, 14, 15 years old, tama ba ako? You were already doing stock market?
I was, I was. But no, before I answer the question, I want to say thank you because you know how everybody gets stressed out in travel, but you did an amazing job to fix that. So thank you, Jeron. Um, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I was young. I grew up. I in the intro earlier, you said you're the middle child. So, me naman, I'm the bunso. No, I'm the youngest of six.
Yeah.
And my siblings, our parents never really pressured us to follow certain footsteps, right? But my dad was a doctor. But I didn't want to become a doctor because he was always out and he was always in the hospitals. So I think at a very young age, I wanted to do business so I could spend more time at home, or so I thought. Um, and so yeah, I started quite young. Every I remember I'd ask my dad. I when he'd get home, I was a little. It was strange for him. No, I'd wait for him. He'd get home, and I'd ask him how much he made that day. And yeah, I remember the first time I asked him, he said, "Why are you asking that? Why are you asking how much I made?" And I said, "No, because I want to know, like, what's the difference between, let's say, being a doctor or getting into business." And he said, "Don't ask me about business. I don't know anything about business. And so ask your uncles, ask your titos." And I think that's what sparked the interest at a young age.
You mentioned that your dad is a doctor, and that it wasn't their thing as an entrepreneur. Most stories that I've heard, yung push nila is because entrepreneurs din yung parents, 'di ba? But with yours, it was different. I like it that you mentioned na nagtatanong ka na magkano yung kinikita. No, really, there's no shame to that. Even my youngest, nagugulat din ako, how much do you make, mommy? Parang ako, huh? Diba? So I like that. Thank you. It gives me hope na, oh, baka one day yung anak ko, maging Mica Tan in the making rin, diba? Um, but you were doing stock market. Who taught you that? How did you get into that at teen years? Teen years.
Mhm. Well, my brothers would have so many books lying around, and I'd read about them. And I remember I was going to school very near Tectite, the stock exchange in Ortigas. And so I one time I just randomly wanted to see, in my mind, parang Wall Street. So I wanted to see what's the Wall Street like here in the Philippines. And so I went there, and I just randomly asked. I remember I was in my uniform pa, so the guard, thought I was a lost kid. And eventually, I met someone who took interest and said, "Well, I'll teach you a few things about stocks." And yeah, randomly, there were people who wanted to teach a curious kid in a uniform in the exchange.
Okay. You said in uniform, mga, how old were you then?
I was in high school. I was in high
High
school.
school. Okay. The reason I'm pointing this out is you did something very crucial, na not a lot of people would do, especially at this age, which is to really already seek for a mentor. And
Mhm.
I mean, I still have mentors right now up to this day, but at that young age, I don't think that's the first thing that we grow up with, na parang naghahanap na tayo ng mentor. So that's already a very good indication of why you are here, where you are today, willing to learn and willing to grasp things, no? Okay, from stock market, I'll jump a bit more. I remember
Mhm.
that I did take a tour with one of your groups and all of these people from MFT. And this guy talked to me and was sharing your story at how amazing you are. How you did something in Palawan and talagang kinatok mo. Was it Palawan nga ba? And you were
It was
selling
Palawan.
things. And what struck me was, okay, it's not about the making of money, although that's really great. It was, wow, this girl has always scale in mind. Kasi kadalasan pag nagdinegosyo, it's, paano ko kikita. But it's
Mhm.
very defining. Konti lang kasi ang ganun, I have to say. Sa dami ko nang nakausap ng mga entrepreneurs na ang iniisip is scalability. And you had that sense already. Can you tell us that story? Because I think that's very important for people to understand yung scale na pinag-uusapan ko.
Oh wow. Wow, thank you for remembering that. So I remember I was supposed to take up finance and go to New York, which is still my favorite city. So I can't wait for Jaron to take me back there one day. Um, and I didn't. I decided to stay, learn from the friends of my dad a little bit about business, and one of them was in Puerto Princesa and Palawan. So I packed my bags and I flew out. My parents didn't know what to do with me because they, of course, like any parent, they wanted me to study right away. And I said, let me just discover what's in Palawan. And I met business owners there, and they random, no, very random. And buti nga nothing ever happened because I was I was always talking to strangers. I was just so curious, and um, eventually that led me to financing opportunities. And then so I'd fly back to Manila. I'd talk to my mentors here, fly back to Palawan, and somehow that was my adventure. And what I realized earlier on was I wanted to help a lot of people. I knew a lot of people needed help, and I wanted somehow to be that conduit. And I'm lucky I'm able to do that now in our own humble way.
So that was that earlier on also? Mga when yon? Prior to
That
MFT?
was, yes, that was the early days of MFT. So I would talk to some manufacturers in Palawan, and they would tell me their hurdles and also their wins. And when they would need more assistance in funding, that's those were our projects.
Okay. You said that, and I'm also saying it again, no? You were young then, but you were already talking, flying in and out. You were quite alone in a way, dealing with them. Was there already a stigma na, I'm sure you get this question a lot, 100% of the time, na, or they're dealing with someone young, or wala naman?
Mhm. There was, but I think that's what I love about entering a new market or a place when you kind of have to reestablish yourself, right? There are no misconceptions or any stigma about you because you're new in the area, so everybody just wants to be your friend. And then eventually meaningful conversations happen, and then they became like family. They became my family in Palawan, and that was when the trust was built over time. So yeah.
So para siyang blank slate that you were saying.
Yeah.
Kasi, I have to be honest, I asked that because I remember I was around mid-20s, and that's not really young, but I guess for some people in the business industry it is. And my mom passed away, and I had to deal with all of these airline presidents. Usually they're all male, and they'd be like, okay, great, nice to meet you. When do we meet your boss? And I would be like, oh, and then I just make a joke and be like, "Oh, she's in heaven." Para na lang matawa sila.
Right.
Para alangan naman sabihin ko na, "Oh, it's me. You're talking to her," 'di ba? So
Right.
just
Yeah.
I kind of played humor with it, and so that's why I was curious if you ever had that with you. Did you? Not just with this Palawan thing. So with Palawan, it was friendly. It was
Mhm.
a clean slate, a nice way to build relationships. But with anywhere else in your life, did you ever
Yeah.
encounter anything similar to that? Not naman, it's nothing insulting. It's just more of, a little bit of curiosity and
Yeah.
questioning from the other side.
Oh yeah. I think until now, some we're
Really?
lucky enough. Yeah, yeah. Some we're lucky enough to hear about. Others will never hear about, right? But until now, I think especially in a world where I mean, business now. I mean, I could say we're lucky that there are more women helping each other, and like this show that you have is a big deal. But yeah, I remember when I first opened my office, and someone barged in, and thought I was the PA and asked me where the restroom was, and I just showed her where the restroom was, and eventually she came back, and I said, "Okay, so can we start the meeting?" And she didn't know how to act. So yeah, I think it happens still, but I never take it personally. And I guess that's just really part of it, right? I mean, we just have to grow and be prepared for whatever meeting we'll have with whoever.
I love that story. I think that's gonna get stuck in my mind. Those classic stories of people who really make it in life, and then you hear these stories and your jaw drops and say to yourself, "Nako, ba't niya sinabi yon? I bet that person is dying already right now." But kidding aside, it's also a very powerful story. I think that when people go kasi and pursue something, I always say that it's not about the race, kasi uso ngayon yan, di ba? Racism, sexism, ageism, whether you're too young or too old. And for me, the only way to take that away the color, the age, the gender, is through excellence. And I think that's what you have. No? You're not you're not it was in my IG post. It was actually there in the caption. Through age is just a number and you proved it through excellence. And I really meant that because you're not the type to be screaming it out there like, hey, I'm Mica Tan, listen to me, know me. We're actually the ones doing it for you because we believe and get inspired with your story. And so the term of excellence is that you just never stop. Imagine from 13, 14, 15, all the way to high school, all the way to moving up to different experiences. I'm sure you haven't stopped and you're still going, right? I mean, we're all home right now, but MFT is still there. Oh, we will get to that later on. The whole MFT group. And you're still here. But did you always know then what you wanted, or has it changed along the way?
Oh wow. I love that question. I wanted to be a stockbroker in New York. That was my dream. Wall Street, tiny apartment, basta in New York. And I thought that was, I did everything to become that. And I guess life always has a better plan, right? And it led me from New York, naging Puerto Princesa, which is just as amazing. And I stayed in Manila. And you're right. I never stopped. I mean, failed a number of times, made bad calls, a number of times too. But yeah, we just, I think when something very deep and meaningful drives us, we really can't stop, right? And I mean you're that inspiration yourself. I see you, I watch you, I chat you up sometimes because you have the funniest stories even about your kids. And that's something that I want to work towards. Like, I'm at the point where I also want to have and start that family. I think that's the biggest test, right? How I'm gonna be as a mom more than anything. I want my kids to be my best friends, and so that's something, I won't stop till I get there.
Oh, Mika, I love that you share that because people might think and they see you as this woman. Parang woman of steel ba? Or tiger woman. Diba? Na go, 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 business, 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 growth, 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 scale, scale, scale. And so you sharing that other side of yours that, yes, I want a family. I want kids too. And that takes us into another side of you na talagang, she's out there to get it in 360, diba? The whole thing of a woman, diba? Family, love, but still the business aspect will still be there. I see it as something of
Mhm.
your passion. Mika, before I get into the MFT story and the future, okay,
Mhm.
I want to just tackle something to just make it a little bit more relatable. Oftentimes, when they see people's success stories like yours, you've been on Tatler, Go Negosyo, all these different write-ups. Basta pag sinabing youngest Filipina achievers, your name is always there. Hindi pwedeng wala. That I'm sure of. Okay? That's given.
Yeah.
But people like the success story, that part. When you're there na, they tend to
Mhm.
forget na may pinagdaanan ka rin. And was it always this smooth sailing? I mean, there's no such thing as smooth sailing during this pandemic, pero was it always this path na always towards success? Or was there even a time na talagang it was just really, really down for you? Like sobrang hirap na. Do you mind sharing, if any? If there are
Oh
any?
yeah. Oh yes. I think many times. And I don't see it getting easier. I mean, it is difficult. Lalo na for me and for us, we're in three different industries. We're in food, healthcare, and financial services. And I remember when I was starting out, people would say, "Why is she in financial services? She's not a CPA." Or "Why is she talking about legacy businesses? She's not a lawyer, or she's not even a doctor. Why is she selling equipment?" So all these things that people throw at people, it just fuels it, right? And I'm not ashamed of it. I say that yes, I am not a doctor, but we build teams, and I think it's over investing in the type of team that I want to build. And I'd like a team where I'm not the smartest one in the team. I know the people on my team are way ahead of me. They're smarter than me by miles, and I think that that gives us that intellectual humility, that will help, get to where we want to go. And so it's been difficult because, of course, when I was starting, I didn't have a big team yet. I was alone, and then I talked to some friends, shared with them the vision, sold to them the vision, and if I was lucky enough, then they would support. And I still face those. I made the wrong calls also in the past. Also went through that phase where you think you have the right team, and eventually, some people there won't be a match, and that's fine. But yeah, I don't see it getting any easier. But there are many times that I went through a lot of the difficulties of, maybe uh, just not being prepared, for what the business or the venture will throw at me.
One crucial one, if you don't mind sharing. It doesn't have to be so specific. Of course, this is still business. You don't have to give the numbers or what. But just one crucial
Yes.
moment na talagang, kasi ako, I've had those especially when I was younger. Yung, kainin mo na ako, Lord. Yung lupa, kainin mo na magtago, But when I look back, wow, it was because of that I really, really, really learned a lot. I'll go first just to,
Mhm.
make it extra comfortable. I remembered we had 1,000 people flying to Boracay, and that was all on
Wow.
our team, 1,000 people. And that would have been fine, except that it was Labor Day. This was one
Mhm.
big company. It was Labor Day, and I'm sure you probably don't remember this, being that you're so young, but it was a time that Claudine Barreto and Raymar Santiago were still together. They were in the airport, and there was a whole fiasco. All the flights were delayed. Nakipag-away pa si Raymar Santiago. That's just a side story, just to
Wow.
show you how kagulo it was, because Labor Day is crazy. And so all these
Mhm.
flights from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao all got delayed, arriving at night. There was no boat to take them to the main island of Boracay. We had to
Oh.
make sure food was there. And I was literally digging my feet on the sand already and really gonna break down, and I wanted to cry. And then the CEO of the company calls me, sits me down, and there was this whole board of men. I was the only woman there, and they
Oh.
asked me to enter. Syempre, naka-shorts ako, nasa Boracay, di ba? Sila naka-suit. Gusto ko na magtago. And they did calmly ask me, what's going to happen here and all. And we did find the solutions, and they were grateful, and they still continue to be our client. And we did great the years after. It was just really bad because Labor Day, we didn't expect it. 1,000 people, that much boats. Long story short, I wanted Earth to eat me already. But if it
Mhm.
wasn't for that particular time, I would have never learned, how to handle crisis. Because that's
Mhm.
when I learned to. I ran to the barangay. I talked to everyone myself. I told my team, ako nagagawa lahat. I talked to them. They were helping and they were doing stuff, of course, but I had to show my face. Let the boats in at night. Let them pass.
Mhm.
And I was this girl in shorts. And at first, parang sila, sino ka? Ba't ka namin kinakausap? I took a tricycle, a multi-cab to everyone, talked to everyone just to get those passes in. And it was really crazy, but it really helped me a lot in my life today. Now, in every travel, okay, it happens, as they say, blank happens when it hits the
Mhm.
fan. So that was one
Yeah.
for me. How about for you? It doesn't have to be that crazy. Just a particular moment when you really felt like, wow, this is a lot, or never, because you really had the mindset from the get go na kaya ko to.
Oh, oh no, no. Many times. I think one short one. Um, and I'd usually talk about it if we had a drink, and it could last 3 hours talking about the wrong
One
things that I
day
did
we'll
right.
do that. One day we'll do that. Okay.
But yeah, I started out, and I think I was lucky that certain people wanted to give me a chance, right? Even if I was young, they said, "Okay, let's partner for a project. Let's partner for this." And I would be quick to saying yes, go game, because I respected these people, and they've been in the industry for so long. But my mistake was, I don't think I put enough effort to have those crucial conversations. There were times when I was seeing things differently, they were seeing things differently, but I just let it pass. When I should have, really sat down with them and told them, "Hey, I don't see it this way. What do you see about it?" And not having those, I guess it was courage, also to have those difficult conversations. Um, I would let some of those pass, and it would breed to bigger, to uglier things, right? Which should have been, should have been avoided. So I think through the years, I've learned to, even if, it would be, even if I'm expecting the worst, like we could be in a coffee shop and I'm expecting this partner might walk out or, do whatever. I should have gone. I should have sat them down and, braced myself na lang for the walkout if ever man magka-walkout, instead of, you know, um, not talking about it, and then eventually, the partnership kind of just like, we don't become as aligned as we have to be. So I think that, and it's not just once, like it has happened a number of times, and I've learned that. So now, kahit sobrang hirap, buti na lang Zoom, 'di ba? So kahit sobrang hirap, you can't walk out or leave the Zoom na lang. But yeah, the
And you're
difficult
speaking up.
conversation.
And you have to speak up, and you get to speak up, at least meron kang computer in between you. Uh,
Yeah.
that's gold, how what you just said. I don't know if our listeners later on sa podcast will realize this, but I wanted to highlight that. Oftentimes, I understand what you're saying, that excitement or that intrigue to create these. Such a collaborator. Name it. Tell me you're gonna partner with me. Okay, I'll think of something. I'll make it 1 plus 1 equals 3. And then
Mhm.
oftentimes, out of niceness, or
Yeah.
is it niceness or fear or hiya? Kasi may ganun ng mga Pinoy,
Mhm.
di ba? Yeah. Then
Mhm.
we kind of pull ourselves back when we should have spoken up.
Right.
Politely, but then with respect. I remember my friend always telling me also, Filipinos tend to forget, when they get into partnership and collaborations, to talk about the exit plan too. What if things go wrong? So this has nothing to do with what you're saying, but parang ganun din na, to be able to talk about things like, paano yung exit plan? I was like, oh nga, no? Parang we always talk about the great things, but what if we want to leave, or the other person wants to leave, or something goes wrong?
Mhm. Yeah.
Those things also have to be talked about.
Exactly.
So those things I kind of check always sa contract, ano exit plan. Not that because I want it to end, but to clarify things just in case. But that's gold, what you just shared. And I hope people who will listen to this will see that, the importance of that, so that they can also
Yeah.
get inspired and learn from that. Okay, we'll take a short break right now, Mica. Thank you for
Okay.
allowing that vulnerable side of you and sharing that, because I think that's really something that where people could really learn from. When we get back and when we come on board again, we'll talk about MFT and the future. Let's take a break
Ooh.
first. SoChal takes flight with Geron Travel. Experience life through travel. Visit at Geron Travel on Instagram and on Facebook. Book it to make your travel happen on www.gerontravel.com. Want to be a travel buddy affiliate? Whether you're a stay-at-home mom or a woman with a budding career, at whatever age or with whatever experience, here's something for you. Work from home, be your own boss, manage your own time, and earn extra by sharing and selling amazing travel products and services. Just send us a message at info@gerontravel.com. Pretty nails are healthy nails, and nail care is self-care. Have a posh experience that feels good from your tips to your toes with signature treatments and products. Visit and shop at poshnails.com.ph and follow Posh Nails on IG.
Milk collection is an important thing for mommies to consider when breastfeeding. Thankfully, we have something to help mommies feel at ease when collecting. Introducing our 2-in-1 milk collection shells, equipped with a pour spout, air vent, and soft silicone backing which is gentle on the skin. It effectively catches milk letdowns and is very easy to pour. Shop now at littletwinkies.com, Lazada, and Shopee. Mafe Management is a company dedicated to empowering individuals and businesses in entertainment, special events, talent management, content creation, digital and traditional marketing, and public relations, in working together to turn their dreams into reality. Get one step closer to elevating yourself and your business by contacting Mafe Management Consultancy at gmail.com. Let us empower you.
Now let's continue here at SoChal. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the flight. And yes, we're back here at SoChal, at the SoChal podcast, having a social conversation with Mica Tan. And now we're getting to the part of MFT group of companies. You know, when I hear group of companies, that's when I hear, that's big. That's big. So let's talk about MFT. How did you get into this? I think 2009, am I correct? Was it the year or early 2000s?
2000. The financing venture started earlier on, but MFT officially started 2014. So we're turning 7 this
Happy
year.
7th year coming
Thank
soon.
you.
Okay, so what transformed it to what it is today, from that financial company to MFT? But first, let's talk about MFT. Ano ba ang MFT? I mean, yes, it has your initials in it, pero ano ba ginagawa ng MFT? Ayan.
Mhm. Okay. So we want to change that, and we want to say that we're pushing that MFT means moving forward together, and not just my initials, kasi nakakahiya.
No, I love it though. It works both ways.
Yeah. But how we started, we were really a group of friends. We wanted to finance ventures, and eventually, we when our parents said, "Hey, okay, the kids have something going on. They're not just playing. Let's start supporting them." And so, my partners and I, based on their family backgrounds, they started saying, okay, let's focus on this industry because that's where your dad is good at. Food also, because really, I mean, the best conversations are over food, right? And then financial services, because that was also our interest, and the parents wanted to support us there. And we didn't just want to finance. We wanted to co-manage. We wanted to test if we are good at growing businesses. And so we learned different aspects of how we could go about it, and eventually latched on to private equity work. And we're not there yet. We're early in our journey, but a lot of our advisors and mentors here and in abroad, they've been very supportive. So it's about business transformation for us. So we buy companies, and they're not huge. Hopefully one day they become bigger and bigger. But at this point, we buy companies in the growth stage, meaning they need that extra push to expand. They need more of shared services. And so for the past 7 years, we've been aggressively growing our shared services group. So when, for example, you partner with MFT, we look at two things. How do we bring down your cost in terms of operating, so you have access to shared services? And then how do we expand your business? So we've done that a number of times, and we want to get better at it. So basically, that's what we do. We want to transform these businesses and bring them to other markets.
Ikaw naman, Mika, the way that you talk about it, it's not really that big. It's just, of course not. I just have to share as early as now, too humble, as early as now that you guys already have grown certain brands internationally, correct? They are already, you already have companies outside of not just Metro Manila, of the Philippines. Of course, there are challenges along the way and all, but you guys were able to do it. Can you share us one story that particularly, strikes you as, oh, this is a good story of how we were able to help and move forward together with this company or with this brand?
I think, let's say for food, which is more relatable for everybody, right? They're really good brands locally and in Asia, and that's our strategy. We want to enter markets by bringing Filipino brands outside or Asian brands halfway across the world, and we did that. We brought certain brands to Singapore. We brought some to Vietnam and Spain, and I think what allows us to do that is we've learned from the past, and now we have those difficult conversations with them, and we really get to the bottom of where we can help, what their expectation is of us. I mean, we can bring a brand to the market, but that's only the beginning, right? Our goal, our job is to make sure that it scales there. And for MFT, we have a goal. We want to be present in 100 cities in the next 15, 20 years.
Wow.
So right now we're in 20. Long, long way to go. But that's what makes us unique. So when we partner with a company, they have access to the different cities that we have business in.
When the vision is so clear with everyone that I talk to, doesn't matter if it's a CEO, manager, a startup, when the vision is so clear, precise, and specific, that's when it becomes a reality. So when you mentioned 100 cities, that to me was so clear. I know where MFT is heading. And I can tell you right now, okay, I'll just break it down a little bit more, okay? So for people listening, maybe younger than us, or just getting an understanding, yung mga equity na words na yan, or what, but they really want to understand it. I mean, what you're saying is that dapat may nakatayo ng negosyo, correct? Dapat may nasimulan na, okay? And when that happens, posibleng lumapit sa MFT and to move forward together with you, you can create ways, ideas, and even execute a plan and have an access to certain things to scale para mapalaki pa ang negosyo nila. Hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas, but even abroad.
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I just had to put it simple. Para sa akin yata yun, para mas maintindihan ko. But I can tell you as early as now, maganda ka, Mika, baka marami na akong itapon na entrepreneur sa'yo. Na dati pa naghahanap. This is a solution. This is a solution because I don't think everyone has that capacity to, even if they want to, and even if they're super galing na, that capacity, if you're busy here where you are right now, you still need that support and pull to be able to grow. And ang ganda ng theme ng buhay mo ha, kahit hanggang ngayon, scale pa rin and growth. Never-ending scale and growth. And now you're not doing it just for yourself, but for other people as well. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I'm not kidding. You will start getting bugged by me. I do have a couple of people who's been looking for this. People don't know that this service really exists. Diba? I mean, they know MFT, they know pag malaki na yung kumpanya mo, but there are homegrown brands that kind of just wants to be, I think this is the word, wants to be believed in. Yung may magtitiwala sa kanila, and that's such an important thing. Thank you for sharing that, and that's a beautiful way of actually, in a way, hindi kayo incubator kasi sa gitna na eh. But
Right.
ano ba,
The growth
accelerator?
stage.
Tama ba, accelerator?
More on the growth stage side,
Growth
those
stage.
that are more than 5 to 10, 20 years. So those, sometimes they're businesses, sometimes they're family businesses that, the successors maybe aren't so interested. And so we want to help them there. Yeah. And as long as it falls under the three sectors. So if it's food, if it's healthcare or financial services, then we can take a look. And if it's not exactly a match, we match them with our friends, and our partners here and in abroad. And so there's a lot of synergy. Uh, yeah.
I think that's the word, synergy and helping out. So what happens is that parang you buy into their company as well because of your belief in them and to scale them and to grow them. Nako, bigla ko nabawasan ng ibibigay sa'yo. Yung isa kasi gusto mag-abroad but very known name in the retail naman siya. But one step at a time, we'll get there. Sige. It's just really nice to know that there is this part of business that is helping push and scale and bring growth to other people. You would be surprised. Everyone thinks na basta you're an entrepreneur, you can, you will, kaya mo mag-isa, you're gonna pull it off. But it takes these partnerships and synergizing to really grow. So yeah, happy to know that, and I'm sure people who are listening are thinking na, teka, sino ba healthcare na kilala ko? Speaking about healthcare, okay, so meron kang tatlo. Financial, food, and healthcare. You must be doing okay with healthcare. Kasi pandemic ngayon. I mean, food, I understand food kasi my husband's also in food. Medyo, it's different. Travel, let's not talk about that na. My joke is always, I'm here to make people feel better because we're the last one to really, to make it. But healthcare, you got into it earlier on, and I guess it's, in a way, it's a homage to your dad, of who he is and his greatness. How's that? When you say healthcare, ano ba yun? What can people
So
access?
So for healthcare, we distribute machines and equipment, and devices, and so that, if you look at our portfolio, the three industries are uncorrelated, and what that means is, and I won't bore you, what that means is, food might be doing not so well, but healthcare and financial services are, so they kind of offset. And healthcare is that we distribute, we serve hospitals. I mean, the challenges are just as, equally as stressful, because of the supply chain, because of our limitations. We have people who actually go to the hospitals, and we have to serve our clients in the same way that they're serving the whole country. So yeah, that's what we do. We distribute machines like CT scans, X-rays, cath labs. So what a hospital needs, yeah, we can provide that.
That's great, and it's lovely that you have these diverse industries under your brand. Goes to show that it helps not to put all your eggs in one basket. All right, Mica, I want to talk about the future. You have accomplished so much. Maybe you don't think that, but let me tell you from the outside, that's what we're seeing and that's what we're hearing and that's what we know. So much along the way. It's also a long way, but along the way, each and every step has always led you to a certain type of growth. It's just bigger and bigger. I guess that's why you say, it's not going to get easier because there's a lot of growth. When you say growth, it really gets a little bit challenging from time to time, but that's part of growth and that's how you get bigger and better. What is it? What do you still want for the future? Like, is there, kung 20 years back or 15 years back, you were thinking, I want to learn about stocks. I want to get into this world. I want I want to get to abroad. And then, I want to learn more about finance. And you seem to have done this, your partners moving forward, going abroad, international. Ano pa? Ano pa ang dream ni Mica?
Oh wow.
Hindi
Aside
ni
from
MFT, hindi ni MFT, iba yon. May partners ka doon eh. Ni Mica.
right, okay. Well, one, I want to be a mom like you, and so that's one dream. We're working on it. The another thing is I want to, what I'm working on now, especially during the pandemic, I want to be really good in building teams. So regardless of industry, I mean, I want to be good at building teams. I want to have those meaningful conversations. I want to be better in communicating, and I just want to be better. I mean, I there's so many opportunities, right? But I want to have that conviction and confidence that these teams that we're building can face them, can take on a big project. And so, I mean, we're happy with our industries that we're in, our focus sectors. We're happy there, and we just really want to be better at it. We want to attract really good managers, executives, people who believe in what we're building. And I want for it to reach a point that they're not talking about me anymore or my story, because it will, and some partly it will get boring, but more about the transformation of the business. Like, I wanted to reach that point that they're talking about these leaders these business leaders within the MFT group. So it's their time to shine, and I want to be able to give them that.
Mika, you are always ahead of your time. The fact that you said building a greater team, you are already talking about legacy, building a legacy, and that's something talked about later by most CEOs later on. So I really have to say you are ahead of your time, and it's so beautiful how you said building a team. I couldn't agree more on that, and be awed by it. And I mean this, be awed by it. Now you could have said a million other things or a zillion pesos more, but you said building greater teams. No, seriously, and that's something that proves that you're really ahead of your time, building a legacy. I think that's what it is. Okay, we're quite running out of time. We'll have to touch down soon, but I still have two more questions that I really wanted to ask, and I think will be very beneficial to whoever listens to this, or maybe even beneficial to you 10 years from now if you ever drop by the podcast and hear yourself again, or dare to hear ourselves again. um,
Yeah.
okay, there's a lot of, not just women, whoever's listening here, they see you, they hear you, they read about you, and they see this person with, she knows all these words, the jargons, the business side of things. No doubt about it, she deals with people internationally. You're talking about finance. We can't even grasp basic Excel pa lang and math sometimes, diba? And this whole thing of scale. So there are people that want to get to this level of mindset. I have to say that there is kasi, sarami kong nakausap na negosyante na may mindset na, startup, may mindset na gusto ko lang mag-succeed, I want to provide for my family, this and that. And then there's a mindset that goes over and beyond, and that's the mindset of scale, which I personally, to be honest, that's not yet within my full grasp, that whole scale thing. Although I have friends and I know people talagang grabe, talagang their mindset is all about scale and growth. And you're in that line, I have to say. Nandun ka sa level na yon. What would you advise someone? Regardless kung ano mang negosyo that they're in, how to scale things? What is it that help you scale things? Because even if you don't want to admit it, you've grown so much, and you've grown other companies too, and your own brand as well.
Ooh, what do we do that allows
Scaling.
us to scale? I think,
Yes, or what would you advise to people who just, gusto lang nila simulan na, kailangan ko na mag-isip ng growth at scale?
mhm. Well, I think that it's very important to set the milestones, right? When I reach X number of clients, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make this change. When I am able to bring down my operation expense to this much, but still my revenue is still consistent, then I'll do this change. And I think the most important thing for me in whatever project is not being afraid of that change. And it takes a while. It takes so much. I mean, we all have our bits of ego, and change is gonna smash that into pieces. And I think it's having the courage now. Okay lang, like we want to, from here to where we want to go, that's a lot of change, and I'm willing to change. I tell myself that every day. I want to have that courage and the consistency and the discipline to change. And if I don't change, then my business won't. And so I mean, it's a challenge. But yeah, I need to be ready for it, in whatever way, in my mindset and how I communicate, or how my perception of things, what I tell myself in the middle of the night. Those things I know I need to change so that my businesses will change. So I hope that helps.
Of course, nahihirapan na nga ako pumili ng soundbite sa daming quotable quotes kanina pa. Okay, one of the persons here that believed in SoChal is my friend Cathy Lakad. We'll be having her on September 9. She's from Posh Nails. She also started her own business, has grown. All these celebrities use it. So we usually end also by asking all our entrepreneurs, because everyone we have here, in a way, they're hard hitters. Kahit ako, I don't want to admit it, nagpapatawa ako, I tell jokes, I do funny stuff online, but in truth, we're quite hard hitters. We're like, we're in the zone when it comes to business and all of these things. But there has to be something that, still makes us feel posh and, take care of ourselves, especially now. I think I just posted the other day, anyone else feels the wave of emotions, it's up and down and up and down. And so this whole self-care. So I need to ask you, how does Mica Tan make herself feel, a little bit more posh and taken care of, self-care, self-love?
Oh wow. I think
Sorry,
I
hindi na
think I
business talk.
I I think the pandemic has changed that about me. Before the pandemic, I would not have an answer for you. And in fact, I'd ask you, Chal, can you help me with that? Because I needed that. But when I got married, and two, when the pandemic happened, I think, I was forced to really think about my time at home, working from home, or, the balance that I also craved for. And for me, self-care is, and this may sound funny, but for me it's having 1-2 hours of doing whatever I want and not feel guilty about it. It could be a show, a book, or yoga, or, but not feeling guilty, right? Because I think I myself, I'll speak for myself, I'm so caught up to, I can't not be doing anything, I can't not work. And so I remember one investment I made last year was a massage chair. And
Good for
I said,
you.
Nako, yeah. So I remember I was computing. I said, Nako, para mag-ROI itong massage chair, I need to use it 3 times a week. Diba? Kundi, sayang naman. And so it's funny because it's near my desk, it's near my work desk, and so it's right in front of me actually now, and it's telling me, hey, what's 10 minutes, right? I need that quiet. So I think those are my little ways, just having 10 minutes or 2 hours doing whatever I want, if it's watching Gilmore Girls or New Amsterdam, just because, and not being guilty.
Mika, thanks for your honesty. I think we all need that, especially for women out there who are rah, 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 go, 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 and our minds are magulo and talagang always thinking. I have a quick sharing before you go. So I have this group, it's called Growth Seeker. We meet every 2 weeks. These are all business people and all women. And, we've all been rah, rah, rah. And all of us came to the conclusion, kasi nga pandemic, our businesses were down. And it's so funny because all of the solutions to our businesses became self-care. Na it's so weird. Na, oh my God, my sales got better. Anong ginawa mo? Nag-walking, meditation, and nag-yoga ako. Pero hindi siya connected. Hindi siya connected. So we kind of, laughed it off. But somehow you realize, oh wow, whatever it is, universe, what you're telling me is I'll take care of myself and I'll do better at work, I'll go for it. Hitting two birds with one stone. But it was just funny and, magical na may ganun pala. Hindi kailangan rah, rah, rah always. So thank you for sharing that. I love your massage chair. Wala pa ako sa point na yan. And gusto ko yung ROI thought mo. Kasi when I buy, let's say, boots for winter, ganun din ako. Ay, kailangan mag-ROI to. Ilang travels para sulit. Okay, so beautiful. And to wrap this up, I just wanted to ask you, Mica, this is now the super real talk. Okay. There's so much confidence in you in terms of, you don't need anyone's approval. I know it's not about I know everything. It's about I kind of know what I want, and I know I'll have the tools to get there, and I'm willing to learn. That's the beauty of it, that we've all heard from you today. Has there ever been a time, because when I talk to women, there's these sort of things, not so much in men for some weird reason, but has there ever been a time, they say we talk to ourselves 90% of the time. It's always us and our brain. All the ideas are here, all the talking. We have board meetings with our head and voices, oh, next idea. But so it's so crucial what we tell ourselves, right? So I'm wondering what is it that you tell yourself, or is there time that even you doubt yourself? Do you give are there negative talks down in there sometimes, or how does that board meeting with you and you look like? And we're gonna end it with that.
Oh wow. Are you sure you want to know? Because it
Yeah,
gets
yeah.
crazy. But yeah, I think self-doubt, I mean, personally for me, I had the most of it because of the pandemic. And I mean, I've never it peaked during the pandemic. Also because you're thinking about so many people 24/7, doing the best to make the right decisions. And one of the questions that I asked myself was, um, am I equipped to take this to where I wanted to go? Sometimes, like if I were in the mirror, I'd say, "Ikaw, kaya mo?" 'Di ba? Parang talaga bang kaya mo? And then those are the things that are in my head. And in fact, I but the spiritual life is I could say 90%. That's where I anchored myself to. Like, I mean, that was my way of coping. It still is. But at the same time, whenever I have those moments, um, I speak to someone, and I've identified that person who can help me. In fact, I have a session at 9:30 p.m. tonight, and I share it to the people I work with that, hey, it's not your best friend or your husband or your wife. Find that person you can talk to, because syempre, if you're working with family, you're still, it's still family you're working with, or your husband. But I think that's what changed. And I'm not ashamed of it. In fact, I think it's one of the best decisions I've made. I speak to someone every Thursday, 9:30 p.m. I tell her all the crazy board meetings in my mind, and she helps me like um untangle the knots in my head. And it helps me for the next day and the next week. And it has come to a point before, just twice a month, and I said no, I want it every week. And yeah, that's what I do to cope.
Mika, I got goosebumps and a little teary eyed because I could relate to that. The self doubt that you talked about during this pandemic. Siguro pre-pandemic, I got this, I know this now, or sige lang, dream, 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 go, go, go. But there's something about this pandemic that kinds of make you question, just because no one has really dealt with it from our generation at least. Well, magka-generation ba tayo? Teka lang, parang mas matanda ako.
Yes.
Nasa dulo na ako ng millennial eh. That really makes us question, to the point that when you said that parang ikaw, that happened to me too. I said that because I was mentoring so many women entrepreneurs, and while I was teaching my class, nag-break time, napapos ako sa tinuturo ko. Are you really an entrepreneur? Here you are teaching them, and you have failures, and I had to snap out of it. I had to, pull myself together. But little bits and pieces. And you said 9:30, 8:30 ako every Monday.
Oh.
With my growth seeker group naman. But that's different. That's like, women entrepreneurs, sitting. I'll invite you one of these days. You might just find new friends.
Well,
But
thank
anyways,
you.
yeah, but anyways, I just really wanted to say thank you for your honesty. I think that's the most beautiful thing that you've allowed us to see. I always say, when people allow you to see their vulnerable side, that's a true strength and greatness. It doesn't matter which hero, which icon in history. It's that side that they're able to share, that shows the human side, and that's what makes us great. So thank you so much, Mika. I'm so grateful for this talk. So many people will
Thank you.
learn. They've all been inspired. So have I. And wishing you, actually, I don't need to wish you. You have a believer in me. you will grow heights and over again. I learned about growth. Thank you. Scaling, but best of all, really the learning and growing never stops. So thank you so much for your honesty and your time. Time is gold. I cannot, pag sinabing CEO, inaalagaan ko talaga yung oras kasi I know time, now talaga during the pandemic, time is gold. So thank you so much. This is worth a lot for you to come here. Thank you so much, Mica.
Thank
I'll
you.
see you
Thank
around.
you, Chad. Thank you so much. I mean, you having this platform is a big deal. It helps us. You're helping me also. I'm not on your level. I can't do these things yet, but thank you so much for allowing my voice to be heard. And more power to SoChal and Jeron and everything else that you do. Thank you.
And to moving forward together, MFT. Mica, where can they reach you? Where can they reach MFT quickly?
LinkedIn and the website. So mftgroup.com.ph. There you go.
That's simple. mftgroup.com.ph. Visit that if you guys want to learn more about growing your businesses, your brands, or who knows, if you get lucky, you get Mica as your mentor. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming on board with us and taking this wonderful flight. Mica Tan of MFT Group of Companies. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. See you around.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. See you.
Touchdown! On behalf of the SoChal crew, we'd like to thank you for flying with us on today's episode. SoChal takes flight with Jeron Travel. Experience life through travel. Visit at Jeron Travel on Instagram and on Facebook. Book it to make your travel happen on www.jerontravel.com. Want to be a travel buddy affiliate? Whether you're a stay-at-home mom or a woman with a budding career, at whatever age or with whatever experience, here's something for you. Work from home, be your own boss, manage your own time, and earn extra by sharing and selling amazing travel products and services. Just send us a message at info@jerontravel.com. Pretty nails are healthy nails, and nail care is self-care. Have a posh experience that feels good from your tips to your toes with signature treatments and products. Visit and shop at poshnails.com.ph and follow Posh Nails on IG.
Little Twinkies is a company that provides the best parenting and baby products, gives excellent service, and uses their business to inspire and provide solutions to parenting needs to make every parent's life easier and more fun. Shop now at littletwinkies.com, Lazada, and Shopee.
Mafe Management, a company dedicated to empowering individuals and working together in making dreams come true in both the entertainment and public relations industry.